Hello, everybody. Welcome to our office hours for topic area 11. It is 3:30, so we'll go ahead and get started with this office hours session. We're going to be hearing from the federal program managers. They'll do a brief introduction, a little bit of background, give us some more information on the programs they manage, and then we will have a question and answer session. First, we would like to introduce, I don't think Drew is joined the call yet. Anna, would you be able to go over the any mission and briefly discuss the topic area?
Yeah, he's held up in another meeting just for a few minutes, but he'll be joining in just a moment. But I will do that, Felicia. We'll go
Thank
over
you so
the
much.
overall mission of the Office of Nuclear Energy. As you all are probably aware, all of the topic areas are intentionally broad this year, similar to last year, but maybe even more broad this year. And the requirement is that all topic ideas submitted must align with the overall mission of the Office of Nuclear Energy. So, that mission is to advance nuclear energy science and technology to meet US energy, environmental, and economic needs. And there's four tenets here. One of those is to keep existing US nuclear reactors operating. The second is to deploy new nuclear reactors. The third is to secure and sustain the nuclear fuel cycle. And the last is to expand international nuclear energy cooperation. Having said that, please note that there are some topics that are not a priority of the Office of Nuclear Energy, those being medical physics, nuclear fusion, nuclear forensics, and environmental management. So it looks like Drew is here. So, Drew, I'll let you take it from here and add whatever you want to add before we move into the question and answer portion.
Yeah, thanks, Anna, and thanks everyone for being here. This is our final office hour session. We will be posting these office hours so that they're available for you for review afterwards. So I'd like to thank you for the introduction, by the way, Anna, of the NE mission. What I'd like to point out today is that we're going to be having a set of program managers here who will be providing um, some background and some basis for current and ongoing items that are of interest that are going on around DOE Office of Nuclear Energy and the advanced materials space. And what the intention of that conversation is going to be is for all of you to get a better handle on where DOE is currently working, where they've already identified gaps, and for you ultimately to decide whether it's getting closer and involved with those programs, or identifying a gap that you have identified on your own or through literature review or something that you'd like to propose on. We're really putting that focus over to all of you for you to make a decision about what you want to what kind of an application you want to write, what kind of proposal you want to put together. And if it's something that's not a clearly already identified gap by the program, to make a good case for the research and for why it's important for the overall goals of as outlined in this NE mission that's on the slide here. So Anna, if you go to the next slide. Uh, we have a few program managers here to talk about this topic area. I do want to point out that we have John Gilligan, who's the NEUP Office Director, Jenna Payne, who's the Program Manager for the CINR FOA, as well as Integration Office staff here to answer more procedural or funding opportunity questions. We also have three program managers here, and Amy is standing in for Kimberly Gray. So we have, it looks like we have Sue Lessica, Dirk Cairns Gallimore, and Amy all here to provide a quick introduction and overview of themselves and what they manage as part of the DOE portfolio. So Sue, let's start off with you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Drew. I'm Sue Lessica. I am the materials lead on two different NE programs. I'll start with the first, which is light water reactor sustainability. In this program, the goal of the materials research is to provide data and methods to assess the performance and the damage mitigation options for our current fleet of light water reactors. In this program, we looked to be able to measure degradation, understand the mechanisms of the degradation, and by using modeling and simulation to be able to predict what the degradation will be. And then we look at also mitigation strategies and how can we repair any degradation that's going on within the reactors. And part of this research includes materials harvesting from some of the reactors that have surveillance samples or are currently being taken down. And so the type of materials that we look at in the light water reactor sustainability program includes the metallic portion. It also includes polymers, particularly in the cabling. And we also look at the concrete in the containment of the reactors. So there's a diversity of material systems that we look at in light water reactor sustainability. The other program that I'm here to represent is the Advanced Reactor Technologies program. And within that materials program, we look to develop the materials for our advanced reactors. And so it includes developing high temperature design methodologies. It also looks at supporting decreasing regulatory risk as it pertains to materials and certifying the next generation of metallic components for the advanced reactors. There's also a non-metallic component of the work that's done in the Advanced Reactor Technologies Materials program. Right now that is focused on graphite. And so that includes, the work in that area includes, again, reducing regulatory risk for advanced reactor developers as it pertains to graphite, understanding the irradiation of graphite and how it creeps under irradiation. We also are looking at the ASME code work for graphite, which is a much different material and behaves much differently than metals do, which is more of the traditional materials in the ASME code space. And so that is a overview of the two programs that I'm here for.
Okay, thank you, Sue. We'll turn to Dirk next. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dirk Cairns-Gallimore. I am the Advanced Materials and Manufacturing Technologies Program Lead here at DOE headquarters. The AMMT program deals with most activities associated with the research, development, and qualification testing of advanced manufactured materials and processes. So it's another broad area that deals with currently mostly metallics, and will probably be that way for quite some time, given the breadth and complexity of the materials and compositions and different applications and potential end uses for these different materials and processes.
All right, thanks, Dirk. And last but not least, Amy, go ahead.
Hey, hi, my name is Amy Welty. I'm a chemical engineer here at Idaho National Laboratory. I'm standing in today for Kim Gray, and her area of responsibility is twofold. It's off-gas area, so off-gas treatment, as well as waste disposition. So the things that we've looked at in the past are like solid sorption of particularly radioactive species in the off gas, such as iodine, tritium, carbon, krypton and xenon. Primarily, we're really interested in those last three, krypton, xenon, and iodine right now. And our past work has really focused on individual sorbents for each individual species. And a particular interest this year to us is trying to find a sorbent or some other method that would take out more than one of those and then store them. And so that leads us really nicely into the waste disposition portion of what we do. And in that regard, we've got some pretty broad interests there. We're looking at storage and containment, the materials that we're going to actually store things in. How do they hold up in a radiation environment? The grain boundaries, studies of alloys or other materials that are holding these wastes, possibly additive manufacturing. And we're always interested in innovative materials and composites that might do better than materials that we've already got. So that's just kind of the broad overview, and I'm welcome to answer any questions that are welcome to ask any questions you might have.
All right, thanks, Amy. Great overview by all three of you. Thank you for that context. What we'll do now is
Hi.
Oh, go
Hello?
ahead.
This is
Sorry.
Ming.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
Ming. I didn't see you on the call. So go ahead. My apologies.
Yes, I just introduce.
Yes, please
Yes,
do.
thank you. Yeah, this is Ming Tan from the NE43. So I just want to introduce our new program. We call this Innovative Nuclear Materials. So this new program just started this fiscal year. So we try to build and sustain the core competence and the capabilities for longer term nuclear fuel cladding materials discovery and development and future the nuclear energy applications. So our focus is on the fuel cladding materials. So we're trying to look for some proposals to support the development and the calculations of innovative fuel cladding materials and in-coal materials for the fuel cycle applications. Some of our interest, including the novel, the metallic alloy composition, or new composite designs, test and calculation capabilities, investigation of the materials performance under the extreme conditions. For example, like the fuel element to the cladding and the cladding to coolant interactions, high temperatures, radiation dose rate, and corrosive chemical environments. And also we are looking for some of the new materials fabrication or manufacturing technologies. So we try to look for the proposals to fill some gaps between the new materials and also the existing cladding concepts. Yeah, if anyone is interested in that, please contact me. Again, my name is Ming Tan. Some of you probably know me. I'm working at NE43. Yeah, thank you.
Right. Thank you for interrupting me. I didn't see you on the call, and I appreciate that you did that. So, thank you for that overview. Exciting new initiative on the NE4, which is our fuel cycle side of DOE. And so, thanks for that overview. What we'll do now is we will open up a question and answer session. There's two ways to ask questions. Either just raise your hand, introduce yourself and the institution you're representing, and ask your question. You're welcome to have follow-up questions and all of that kind of good stuff. And if you do not want to come off mute, you'd rather write your question down, then you can type it into the chat, and Felicia or I can relay that question to the program managers here. So we do have 90 minutes scheduled for this meeting overall, and we'll go until there aren't any more questions. So with that, we'll open things up. Okay, James Earthman, go ahead.
Yeah, Jim Earthman at UC Irvine. Thanks very much for the introduction. I appreciate the office hour. I was wondering how much molten salt conditions will be considered in the innovative materials program. Will that be a strong topic in that area?
Yeah, we're certainly interested in that. It's not as much of a focus, but that's kind of early days on that. So if you've got something innovative in molten salt, particularly for materials or for off gas, yeah, absolutely, we'd be looking at that.
Thank you.
Okay, from the chat, where and when can the recordings of these office hours be accessed? We plan on after this session, wrapping all of these up and getting them out onto our website. So there will be a headline on the nup.gov website that has access to these recordings and the question and answer from all of the sessions. And I'm going to try not to overpromise for Felicia since she's going to be the one putting it up, but my guess is by Wednesday morning, we should have everything up and going there. We'll be sending out an email to everybody on the NAUP contact list when it's available. Let's go to Tianyi Chen. Go ahead.
Hello, this is Tianyi Chen from Oregon State University. I have a question regarding nuclear graphite. I was wondering, CREEP and the ASTM code qualification considered more relevant than other like mechanical property studies for nuclear graphite? Because the reason I ask is because we are considering a proposal on fracture properties of irradiated graphite and wondering if that's a priority or not.
I see Will's on the line. Would you like to start on that one, Will?
Yeah, sure. This is Will Wines from Idaho National Lab. So the fracture properties of irradiated graphite would probably be of some interest, not necessarily just doing the fracture of it. But I guess what I would ask is that it is related fairly heavily to the ASME probability of failure calculations that are being done at the ASME. So how do we equate the probability of failure and the change to the probability of failure due to the irradiation? And that would probably be more along the lines of tensile strength, reduction of or increase of strength, and the fracture behavior. So I think just going in and doing a study on fracture behavior of irradiated graphite is not as of interest, but if you can tie it to the ASME probability of failure, then yeah, I think that would be of much greater interest.
Thank you for answering this. Yes, and that's what we are trying to do, and it's good to hear you confirm with that.
Good, excellent.
Any follow-up questions? If not, we'll go to Charles Hurst. Go ahead.
Hello there. Yes, my name's Charles Hurst. I'm currently at the University of Michigan. And I was just wondering if there's any interest in kind of in operando, specifically ion irradiation mechanical testing to emulate neutron radiation, specifically to qualify and accelerate the qualification of novel alloy compositions. It sounds like it might be within this workspace of the new innovative nuclear materials area.
Yeah, thank you for your questions. You know, for the NEOP project, normally just a 3 years term. So, so probably we cannot do, and we cannot afford for the neutron radiation. Definitely, if we are studying the radiation damage, of course, the ion beam radiation probably is a good way to simulate the neutron radiation. So, especially to screen or test some new compositions alloys.
Yes, and is there any interest in maybe beyond compositional screening, identifying, you know, stress and temperatures that would have desirable mechanical properties for kind of long-term service?
Yes, yes, of course, because we are looking for some long-term capabilities or long-term research for the materials discovery. So we are trying to avoid, if you are focusing on the existing candidate materials, probably you need to look for some the programs working on that. If you are working on some new materials, new composition or new designs, probably fit these programs. So of course, the fundamental or basic studies, especially for beam radiation induced mechanical properties, yes, it is.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
It looks like there's also a question in the chat. Charles Kelly wants to know what is necessary to be included in the email list that you mentioned, Drew.
And I will type in, Charles, just go ahead and email NEUP@inl.gov and ask to be added to the list. And you'll start receiving any email announcements from the NEUP Integration Office. All right, we'll continue taking questions. Timothy Duvall, go ahead.
This is Tim Duvall from Clemson University. Amy, I appreciate your overview. I got just, if you could expand a little bit on what you were referring to in terms of storage and containment. Storage and containment of what is of particular interest?
Okay, so our particular interest right now is for the materials that are captured from the off gas.
Okay.
So krypton.
So none of the aqueous waste streams or.
We're not really looking at that quite as much right now, but I'm trying not to be wishy-washy, but that's always of interest. You know, that's always, if you have something that's really awesome, that looks really good and very promising, certainly new materials are always of interest for long-term storage.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Was it clarification? I'm not sure. It was a little additional information.
Yes, thank you.
And I will mention that our from an overall NE emission space, meaning if it's part of the fuel cycle that may not be called out here in this space, it likely does have a place somewhere in one of these topic areas. And so whether it's this topic area or it's one of the ones that we've already visited about, there's likely a space there as long as it meets one of those 4 NE mission goals that I mentioned at the beginning. So from that standpoint, take a look at where the bulk of the research is, place it in that topic area. And then what we do from a review standpoint is we take a look at anything that's very cross-cutting and make sure that we bring a review group together that represents that, bring in additional program managers from other areas or other things like that to make sure that we get the right look at all the applications. So it's not just segmented into one section, if that helps, Tim.
Yes, that helps. Thank you very much.
All right. Tanya, you have another question. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I have a question about that innovative cladding material program. I want to get some clarification on what is considered like a new material. For example, will like something like ODS that are not fully qualified for cladding application considered new? And also I was wondering if we propose some like novel methods, fabrication technologies for existing materials, will that be considered relevant?
Yes, for the existing materials, like you mentioned, the ODS steel. So if you can think about some new fabrication method, or not that new, but we haven't used that technology for to fabricate ODS, not the traditional mechanic alloy process, we still can consider it. So for other, like we are consider some new composition or new design, it's just a novel, innovative materials. So for the existing materials, like just you mentioned, some different method or technologies to develop it or to fabricate it is count in this programs.
Thank you, Ming.
All right, thanks.
Okay, we'll keep entertaining questions if you'll raise your hand or throw them in to the chat.
Like we have a question in the chat. Would concept metallic fuel be of interest?
Ming can add to this, but generally this topic is focused on materials as opposed to the fuel. So the cladding would be of interest in this topic, but there's a different topic for the fuel itself.
Yes, just like Sue just mentioned, this topic area is mainly focusing on the materials. So for the new program, Innovative Nuclear Materials, we are focusing on the fuel cladding materials, not the fuel itself. So this is very clear.
Yeah, and Ming, I was just going to say, if you're looking at metallic fuel concepts, that would be in topic 5.
Yes.
All right, we have next hand up is Charles Hurst again. Go ahead.
Yes, me again. Obviously, there's a lot of interest in this innovative nuclear materials program, and I've got one hit on Google, which is one slide from the GAIN Advanced Materials workshop last year. So, could you maybe point us to any documentation that's got any more information about this new program?
Yeah, Charles, thanks for your question. Yes, it is. Last year, actually, we had 2 workshops. One is that during the ANS summer meeting conference. Then another workshop is virtual format. So one in person and one virtual. So we do have, again, if you go to the GAIN website, you will find all the documents about these programs. So after that, this year, and actually started from January, yeah, we initiate to work on this project, to start this project. At start, we are working on the national lab. So we asked some white papers, and also we found several projects from this fiscal year. So that's why in the next fiscal year, FY24, so we'll continue working on that. So we are looking for some new ideas or new concepts for the cladding materials development or some new method. Did I answer your question?
Yes, I think I'll check out the GAIN website. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah, all the workshop documents or slides, they post on the GAIN site. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Charles. And ask as many questions as you want. We welcome them. So, Osman, go ahead.
I have a follow-up question on what Tianyi asked earlier. So there is a topic area 11 and 12, and there seem to be overlap in both of these areas in terms of the advanced manufacturing. So I have two questions. One is to find out what is better fit. If I have a proposal idea, I'm not sure which of these two areas my proposal fits. Should I contact the program managers directly and ask? The second question is, if I think it actually fits one area and I submit it to that area, would it be, if program managers think that it is actually a better fit for the other area, would there be, swapping of the a proposal between the program managers?
Yeah, so I know that Dirk answered this question during the topic 12 overview. So I'll give him a moment after I talk about the last part of your question. So the last part was, if I choose somewhere and I submit it, is there any consideration by program managers about possibly moving it to a different area if it's more appropriate there? And what I will say is there is a piece of our initial review process that does exactly that. If a program manager looks over an application and says, hey, this is really advanced manufacturing, I think it would have the application would have a better chance in that category than this category. That conversation can happen and we can make a recommendation to you as the PI to make that change. Ultimately, you may have put it there for a good reason, right? So you can decline to have it moved or anything else, but we do have those types of conversations here internally to try to make sure that the application is placed in the best topic area where where it has the potential to be the most successful. So Dirk, do you want to try to cover the overlap between topic area 11 and topic area 12? I thought you put that really well when we did that last week. If you go ahead.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what I said last week too, Drew. So I think I think the key with between the two is that the topic area 12 really is has a more heavy focus on the advanced manufacturing aspect of it. So if fundamentally, if you're really looking at more towards the advanced manufacturing side, it doesn't matter if necessarily your materials are wet, but if it has more of an advanced manufacturing focus, it probably belongs in topic area 12. And so, I mean, the other thing, Drew, that I didn't mention the other day, Drew, is that the Advanced Materials and Manufacturing Technologies Roadmap is available on the DOE website. And that can give you more information about the program as well.
All right, thank you both.
All right, thank you. To answer the last part of that question, which I don't think we did well, was if you're looking for additional clarifications, please do reach out to NEUP@inl.gov, and we will route those questions to the appropriate program managers for a response for you. And that would be the appropriate way if you feel like you need a clarification to be able to make that decision if your application is cross-cutting in nature. Next question, Asel, go ahead.
Thanks, Drew. Quick question. In terms of TA11, does the development of comprehensive frameworks include the use of machine learning to study whatever material system you're interested in?
So if you're looking at machine learning as part of what you're doing, yes, but I would shy away from something that is exclusively geared toward machine learning. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I just the reason why I wanted to ask is, can we use machine learning to look at, say, existing data to establish correlations, for example?
That's been a big part of, for instance, that's part of what they're looking at with MOFs, I know right now, and some other types of frameworks as well. There's a lot of data out there. It'd be hard to page through it real well without yes. some sort of help, right?
Yeah, exactly. Thanks.
Yeah, and Asel, I will bring up a conversation that happened earlier last week when talking about our folks that focus on modeling and simulation and AI machine learning concepts here at Department of Energy, and they reflected that if the same type of conversation we just had, if the core of the tasks and the research area is focused on some type of materials development or qualification activity or something else, then it would probably belong in that area. Understanding that there's going to be maybe some modeling and sim in there, understanding there might be some machine learning or some other type of technique that may somewhat fit in another area. So it's really, like I said, do your best in those spaces. And if there's real concern about, hey, this is 90% machine learning and just could be applied past this material, then maybe there'll be a conversation to move it or something. But that's something that we'll do here internally once we get all the applications.
Thanks, Drew.
Yep. All right, we'll keep going with any more questions. Great conversation so far. All right, we'll do a final call for questions here soon, but I do just want to relay one or two pieces of information. Reminder that a week from Wednesday, July 26th, is our due date for pre-applications in topic area 11. And that, like I said earlier, any clarifications you need, please reach out to NEUP@inl.gov before that deadline. And we either staff here at the integration office or our program management at DOE can make some clarifications for you. We do have another question in the chat. Will ceramic materials fit into this topic, such as cladding or fuels?
This is Bai from University of West Lincoln. This is my question. Thank you.
Yes. So for the cladding materials, ceramic, in the program of ATF, they are working on the silicon carbide composite for the cladding applications. So if you are working on the silicon carbide, probably you can looking for the topic areas. For other application, for examples, ceramic composite, the coating or some applications on the cladding. So we are consider this for the innovative nuclear materials or innovative cladding materials. So this is my answer.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. We'll submit. We'll submit for sure. Sorry, my camera has some problem, but thank you for your help.
Yes. So if you have any questions, you can contact me for more details. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll do a last call for questions here then. Osman, go ahead.
Just for clarification, so if we have questions, we don't reach out to program managers directly. We email the email that you provided in the chat. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. I don't see any other questions, so we will wrap up this session. Thank you, all the program managers, for coming out and supporting the office hours. This has been helpful to provide some context for the CINR applicants. I hope all of you reach out if you have any questions, and Best of luck in proposing. If you have need any clarifications, want more conversation, please feel free to reach out. And with that, we will conclude the session and get working on getting these videos out for everybody to review later. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, Drew.
Thank you, Drew.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Drew.
Thanks.